All right, so we got 3 plus absolute value of 4t minus 1 is equal to 8, right? So the first thing we're going to do is isolate or get on its own the absolute value. And that's even too complicated an explanation, even though only it's 3 words. Look, subtract the 3 from both sides. Look how easy it is. Just do that, everybody. Subtract 3 from both sides. Look how easy it becomes. Look how much work we've done just by doing that. Just subtract 3. Because look, it's this expression thing with the absolute value, this complicated thing. Okay, this thing plus something. It's kind of like doing, 3 plus, I don't know, what does that look like? A box. 3 plus a box equals 8, right? What would you do if you're solving 3 plus a box equals 8? You would subtract 3, wouldn't you? Because now the box equals 5. See, so that is the case. Like, most students can't just take that first step. I don't understand why. Just subtract 3. And now, because look, watch. 4t minus 1 equals what? There we go. Now we have isolated this complicated thing, this absolute value thing, right? So just subtracting the 3. But listen, you can't add 1. It's inside an absolute value. It's not that simple. It's inside. We have to deal with this absolute value in a special way. You can't just be dividing by 4 and adding 1 yet. We have to deal with the absolute value, right? But we can subtract the 3. That's simple. Subtract 3 from both sides. Now we have this. So let's get that far. Now, just a quick reminder. Everybody, give me the answer to this. Absolute value of x equals 7. What is the solution? Write down the solution. Take your time. I just made this up for a bit of practice. Absolute value of x equals 7. The answer is what? Good. X is 7 or negative 7 because there's actually 2 solutions. There are 2 things that we can plug in to make this work. We can plug in 7 because absolute value of 7 is 7, or we can plug in negative 7 because absolute value of negative 7 is equal to 7. So this has 2 solutions, 7 or negative 7. Now, this is what we have is absolute value of thing. The thing in here is equal to 5. So that means the thing could be what? What could that whole thing be? So the absolute value of it is 5. That whole thing inside there could be what? Right. That whole thing in there could be 5 or negative 5. Do we all agree with that? The thing inside here could be 5 or negative 5. Because the absolute value of that would give 5, right? So we say the thing, that thing is 5, or that thing inside there is negative 5. And that thing is 4t minus 1. So we say 4t minus 1 is 5, or 4t minus 1 is negative 5. That make sense? So press pause and everybody solve both of those equations. So now we have 2 equations, because remember there's 2 solutions. So press pause on the video if you're watching from home and solve both of these equations and see what you get. I'll do it real quick. So just add 1 and we get 4t equals 6. Divide by 4 and we get t equals 6 over 4. And if I simplify that, 2 into that goes 3 times, 2 into that goes twice, 3 over 2. Solve this one, add 1. And I get 4t equals negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4. And then divide by 4. And t is negative 1. So t equals 3 over 2 or negative 1. 2 solutions, 3 over 2 or negative 1. And now watch as I'm going to plug both of them back into the equation. And if y'all are taking a test, this is what you ought to do, is check your answer. This is called checking your answer. Watch this. Plug into the original equation. So 3 over 2, plug that in and see what happens, and also the other one was negative 1, isn't that right? Okay, so if I plug in 3 over 2, this is 4 over 1 times 3 over 2. That makes 4 times 3 is 12. 12 over 2, which is 6. So, 12 over 2, which is 6, minus 1. So we got 3 plus absolute value of 6 minus 1, which is 3 plus absolute value of 5, which is 3 plus 5, which is 8. Okay, so that made 8. Good, right? This one, 3 plus absolute value. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 minus 1 is negative. Right. Absolute value of negative 5. Regular. Good boy. Good job. Regular 5. Good one. 3 plus 5, or positive 5. 3 plus 5 is 8. And so that worked as well. See, 2 solutions. 3 over 2 worked and negative 1 worked. And they're the only 2 numbers that will work. You try any other number in the world, it won't work. There's 2 numbers that make this work, this and this. Because when I plug 3 over 2 in, it turns this inside into a 5. Positive 5. When I plug a negative 1 in, it turns this inside into negative 5. And look at the beginning of the whole thing. When we saw this, we first introduced this equation, it said 3 plus some weird thing equals 8. Well, what? 3 plus what gives 8? 3 plus 5 must give 8. So this weird thing here must be 5. Because 3 and 5 is 8, right? And of course that weird thing turned out to be 5 because absolute value of positive 5 is 5. Or absolute value of negative 5 is 5. So all we were saying was that, yeah, this weird thing here needs to be 5. But the other way of thinking about it is, look, the absolute value, we could have it 2 ways. We could have 3 plus absolute value of 5 or absolute value of negative 5 gives 8, right? So that's basically what we're saying. So just working backwards, thinking about it. Cool. Good job.